We were just hoping you'd tell us a little bit about your childhood, Grandma.
I remember, first time I can remember stuff is when we lived in the cabin, and you saw the pictures today.
Mm-hmm.
At the mouth of Deep Creek.
No, at the mouth of the canyon up by the old schoolhouse over in the canyon.
So you were straight across from the old schoolhouse.
Is that where we went?
Right,
No, not Eddy Creek.
Oh,
She's talking clear down by Dean's Lane.
yeah,
okay.
yep, straight out in there. I can remember
How many rooms did you have in the cabin?
2.
Wow.
We had a kitchen and a kind of a living room, bedroom, all together,
2-story or just one?
1.
And you all shared the bedroom area? You and all of your siblings?
And then they
your
moved to another building next to it, outside, and they moved the sleeping quarters over there and made a front room, put the table and stuff in the second room on the cabin.
How long did you live there?
I can't remember. I can remember when we moved to the Colson place,
Where's the Colson place?
where the log cabin was down. You've never been there though, have you? Yeah,
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if I know where the Colson place is.
There's a Colson Lane or something we saw.
Yeah. Well, it's called the Shenton Lane now, where Dad and Mother lived until they moved to Du Bois.
That's what you're calling the Colson
The
place?
Al Colson place.
So you moved from up by the school down to where the old homestead was there?
Right.
All right. And then you moved into Du Bois, and then they moved into Du Bois.
They moved into the Terry Medicine home in Du Bois. So I can remember most of my childhood on the Al Colson place. An uncle, I think. To
He was an uncle?
Yeah.
To Leah? Okay.
And who built the home on the Al Colson place? Was it there, or did you guys build it? Grandpa
No,
built
it was there. It was
It
a
was
log cabin,
Oh,
or a log house, remember?
hmm
Yeah.
And you guys didn't build that, you just moved into it.
It was real tall, and then they took a lot of logs off and lowered the ceilings in it,
So
That's-
the home that was out on the Winspur place that they moved right next to it, what happened to that home? Remember that old home by that?
That was Grandma and Grandpa Winspur's house that was out to Blue Creek.
Yeah,
And they moved it and they put it on the other side of the ditch, and they were going to fix that up. They never did. Yeah, but we still used part of it for bedrooms at times,
and then what happened to that house? Did they just tear it down?
Burned it down, I think. Yeah.
So tell them about your childhood, Joe.
Tell them about my childhood.
Yeah, what do you remember?
You did a lot of housework and
I did. We worked out in the field. We rode horses. I herded a lot of cows. The cows that we milked had an old horse that was called Babe, and we had another horse that was called Buster. And those is what I herded on. We had a lot of pigs, chickens,
tell them about your sled ride.
My what?
The sled ride. Where you got bumped off.
Oh, well, yeah. I was in about the 7th or 8th grade, and we had to haul water from the creek, which was down the road, so we'd take all the cans over and fill them with buckets, from the creek. And I took my little cousin, and we put him on a toboggan, and we were riding behind the pickup, and Dad was going real fast, and we come to the bridge, and we started to go off into the creek, so I took and let go of the rope and grabbed a hold of Bobby so I could roll him off in case the sled tipped over. And we didn't. Then I stuck my hand down underneath the sled instead of the rope and broke my hand.
Oh.
Yeah, the bone in it. Sheared my knuckle off.
Ouch.
So what did you use the water out of the creek for? Was that drinking water or was that?
Everything.
You
Drinking
drank
water.
the water out of the creek?
Mhm.
Oh,
We didn't have a well.
So you had to go every day to get water then, didn't you?
We had quite a few cream cans. They were 10-gallon cans that we took and filled, and
Did you guys have a shower or a bathtub or
metal tub,
a metal tub?
metal round tub that we took. You always got to take it in front of the stove, though.
Oh yeah.
And you wanted to be the first to get in the water.
Yeah, right. Because it seemed like you were all us kids, you know, when we were kids, when we were little. Why we used the same.
Who did you play with the most? With Don or Dean?
Mostly, Don was. I guess I was with both of them, really. We didn't play that much. We had chores and things that we had to do all the time, you know. In the summertime, we helped stack hay and herded cows, and you had rabbits and chickens and stuff like that to feed. And
Yeah.
then you'd help in the house. Mother'd leave a little list for you to do, you know. You'd have to do dishes. And in the summertime, though, we had a ditch. And the water come down by the house, and we didn't have to go to the creek to get it.
Mm.
You had to take tick shots and typhoid shots and diphtheria shots.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your parents. What were their names and what were they like?
My dad's name was Hollis, and he was a jolly guy. He was, you know, good-natured and that. Mother, both of them was, really. And mother's name was Harriet.
Where did they meet?
Well, mother told me that he was a patient in the hospital and she was his nurse.
Mm.
When they
In
met.
Idaho Falls here.
Yeah.
So they met over here, right
In
where
the
the temple's
Spencer
at, there used
Hospital.
to be a hospital.
But there used to also, and right now it's a kindergarten or a preschool over on South Broadway. And that's where the Spencer Hospital was that Mother went to nurses training in.
Did they always live in DuBois then, after they got married?
Out to Medicine Lodge. Yeah. And Don was the oldest, and then Dean, then me. Then 14 years later, here come Larry. He joined the crowd. So,
Little caboose there.
yeah, the little caboose there. Yeah. We rode horses a lot. Bonnie Stoddard was down the road. She was Bonnie Bond, you know, and we played with her a lot.
Where did she
We
live? Did
chase
she live
antelope.
on the Woodfield place or did she live on the?
She lived in the Woodfield place.
Did you guys go to church growing up? No, not at all.
Nope.
Too much chores to be done.
Just, yeah, I think part of it, you know.
Do you remember any neat experiences from Grandma being a nurse?
Well, she'd give the spotted fever shots, you know, and which was tick fever, and then diphtheria and typhoid shots. And then anybody that got hurt would come. What's the matter? And like we had one guy come and his leg was cut open because he dropped the mower guard. It just ripped his leg from the knee down. So she bandaged it up and cleaned it up, you know, and sent him on to get it sewed up. She never did any sewing up or anything like that. She took care of a lot of people, like that had cancer and was sick in the homes, and she'd go and
She didn't want to go deliver babies though.
she didn't while I can remember, you know.
Was there a doctor in Clark County?
There was later on, you know. Dr. Trucks will come one day a week over there. I
So,
think.
Before that, was Grandma the only nurse in the county or was there other nurses?
Well, she was the only nurse in that area.
What about meeting Grandpa? Do you remember much about that?
Okay. Why, yeah, he graduated though and went to the service. You know, and
So where did you go to grade school?
I went to grade school at Medicine Lodge.
Not Eddy Creek, but small.
That's small.
And Grandpa went to grade school at Eddy Creek. We've been to the Eddy Creek school.
Yeah, and we went in this, they had a covered wagon and it had a little stove in it. And this lady drove we called it the bus. And she'd come around and pick us up, take us up to school. Then she'd come back when school was out and take
And
us
where's
home.
up to school?
What's he eating?
Small?
Yeah, it's small.
And when,
Jumping in the high chair?
did Grandpa go to the first 8 grades at Eddy Creek?
You know, I think,
And
yeah.
then did he come down to small for the remaining?
We had high school, even when I was in grade school, we had high school students out there because the Thomases and that lived in that area went there.
Did you ever go into Du Bois to school?
Yes, they
At what grade?
When 7th grade.
Did you know Grandpa in grade school, or when did you meet Grandpa? What age?
After he came back from the service, and I guess I was out of high school when I met Grandpa.
So you didn't know him before then? Oh, okay.
I ran around with his sister, Shirley, in school.
How did someone set you up, or did you meet him at a party, or?
I think I met him at a dance at Medicine Lodge Schoolhouse.
Oh, really? And then you guys started going out.
Yeah.
He started courting you.
Yeah, I guess that's what you'd call it.
Do you remember any fun dates you did together?
Any fun dates? No, I remember when we went up Modoc, and it was on a Sunday afternoon. And he went to turn around, and I said, I didn't want him to turn around there because it was real sloughy-like, you know. And he backed off in there, and we got stuck and couldn't get out. So at 7 o'clock that night, he decided maybe we should walk out. So we walked plumb out to Monida.
And you left the truck there?
We couldn't do anything else. We couldn't get it out. Yeah,
Well, that's quite a walk. That's
it's quite a big walk.
8 or 10 miles.
Yeah, and we run into a Bass sheep herder. Was up there herding sheep, and Bub says, "Now you stay with him, and I'll walk out." And I said, "I'm not staying here." I couldn't understand one word that guy was saying to me, or Bob. You know, knew nothing about him. Yes. So we walked out of there, and then I stayed in Monida and got a room and slept while he got on the bus and rode down to Du Bois and got another truck and come back up, and we pulled the truck out and drove it home. It was a mess.
Oh my goodness.
And I missed work that day and couldn't even call in, and we didn't have cell phones
Where were you working?
at the courthouse.
Wow, you worked at the courthouse since then, huh?
I worked in the ASC office. Maybe I was still working at the ASC office when that happened.
So before you get married to Dad, what did you guys do when you were kids for fun?
For fun, we went to the movies at the theater in Du Bois
Oh, wow.
for 35 cents. And then we'd go over to Jean's Fountain and have a milkshake or a
Jean
hamburger.
who?
Jean Laird. She had a little soda fountain. And it was so jam-packed with kids, you know. But everybody went there afterwards, so we did too. Then we'd drive the old car home.
When did the family get their first vehicle?
I don't remember. The first vehicle I remember was an old car that the doors opened back instead of towards the back. It was a four-door car. And it was a Ford, and I think it was called a V8. And that was the first car I could remember, and I think I was in 4th, 5th, 6th grade.
So prior to that, you had horse and buggy.
We had horse and buggy and sleds and wagons. Wasn't too bad.
So then, okay, besides going to the show in DuBois and going to the fountain, what else did you do for fun?
We'd go to dances at Medicine Lodge. Let's see, what else did we do for fun? We'd go have, they always had community picnics and up the creek, and everybody'd bring food and watermelons. We always stole the watermelon out of the creek and busted it on the ground, and things like that. Just kid stuff.
Where did you go to get your groceries?
We used to go to Roy Matsumera's over along the railroad tracks. It was called the DuBois Market.
Hmm.
Yep. And then the Pilot Cash come, and Orson Rasmussen had a hotel there.
How far is it from Medicine Lodge to DuBois, Grandma?
About 15 miles from where we lived to DuBois.
Okay, now you can fast forward and get married.
Oh, and get married.
Yeah.
We got married in 1957.
How long did you court?
I think 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2.5.
How old were you, Grandma?
When I got married,
Mm-hmm.
I was 21. Not very old, was I?
And how old was Grandpa?
25.
How did he propose to you?
Well, that was a funny deal. I can't even hardly remember that. He took me to town, and we'd gone to a movie or a show. We used to come to Idaho Falls they'd have Hank Thompson and some of the great Western singers come to the Civic Auditorium, and we'd come down to them, and I think it was just before we'd gone to one of those. Oh, and he used to love wrestling, and we'd go to those. But anyway, we went over and was looking at rings, and he wanted me to pick out a ring, and that's how he proposed to me. I wasn't sure I really wanted to get married right then or not. You're young. Haven't been out. We never traveled around much when I was a kid. We never got to go anyplace. We didn't have the finances. Plus, even when I was in high school, we bathed in the round tub, metal tub, and
Wow.
we had outdoor plumbing.
When did you guys get indoor plumbing? Do you
They
remember?
got it after I left home.
What's the furthest you had been from Medicine Lodge by the time you were done with high school?
By the time I was done with high school, I had been to Wyoming because we had relatives there. And we went to Afton, Wyoming, and I got to stay with my cousins over there in a couple of summers, for a couple of weeks.
And after you graduated high school, did you do any other schooling?
I went to Dillon, Montana, and went to 1 year of college. Then I got appendicitis and had to pay for that, so I'd worked in the cafe in the summer, and saved my money. And I had to pay for the doctor and hospital bill. And then I went to work in the courthouse. And in '64, I ran for office,
What office did you say that you were elected to?
the county treasurer. I worked there for over 19 years. The commissioners called me in and they said, we want you to move from the treasurer's office into the clerk's office. And at that time, they were expensive piece of equipment. They're a great big machine, and you're putting that money out, and it's taxpayer money. I said, well, I was elected to the treasurer's office. I think I should stay there. And they said, no, we really want you to move up, because they couldn't find anybody that was. So I went and moved up, and I'd go to work at 7 in the morning, and I'd stay after work at night and check the books, until I got it all on. It took me about 6 or 8 months to do that, to get his office on. But I loved my job, and I did have an offer to go to the sheep station, and I could have went out there and had a federal job. But I was out of town, about 12 miles out to the sheep station, and sometimes they were snowed in out there for 3 days, and where would my kids be? Bob was up on the hill plowing snow, He worked for the state. And I really loved my job in the courthouse. It didn't pay that good, and I could have made better wages and everything. But I loved the people and I loved the job, so I just stayed in town.
And how soon after you were married did you have your kids?
I was married in 57, and I guess Clint was born in December of 1960. And then Bobby was born in 62.
Did you go to the hospital to have them, or did you have them at home?
I went to the hospital in Rexburg.
Oh, okay.
And I know I was born down here in Idaho Falls.
Oh, were you? Well, I think that's a good little start.